Hello, everyone. I'll give everyone a minute to get in. I know those pings can be delayed. How's everyone doing in the meantime? I see Martin, Sparkle, Nor, Freya, Gatsu, Ed, Dark Magic, everyone turning up. Very good. I am alone today, so I'm going to do my best to try and look at chat. Of course, since the point is to ask questions, I want to make sure I try and do that while sharing all the new information as well. I do see there's two chats. There's one for the AMA specific and the Meow Match channel itself. I'll try and read both if that ends up happening to be where people are speaking in two places, but we'll see. A few more people rolling in now. It's always very awkward the first few minutes. Just waiting. Maybe it's live now post maybe event. Maybe that might just remind everyone. I know I forget very quickly. Thank you. I actually have my notes in front of me today for once. Usually every AMA I'm just scrambling around to remind myself of what I'm supposed to say, which is hilarious. But today, hopefully a little bit more prepared. And also got some screenshots, just some leaks for the visual side, and then we'll speak about Meow Mansion as well. So we're going to cover both Meow Match, Meow Mansion today. I guess we can start speaking now. Maybe give it another minute since the ping just went out. But it's a Tuesday. It is October the 3rd. And it is very wet in England. I don't know about everyone else, but it is horrendous here. But that is sunny old England for you. Okay, looks like a few more have come in now. So I guess I'll just start the process of waffling on. It feels very weird. Although Vent it is on the stage, still feels very, very strange. Oh, actually, I'll start with where is Captain Chill? Well, he has made a copy of himself, very similar to Neff. So he is off with his new copy, as in his new firstborn. So very exciting for him. And then when he returns, he will be moving to the platform team because he's going to be leading that and getting lots of stuff done. As you can imagine, with all the coming games and stuff for the platform teams are very busy. There's all different connections and communications that need to happen. And Captain Chill is going to go in there and get all of that squared away, which he's very good at. So that's why we do not see Captain Chill joining us today. And he may be joined as a guest speaker in the future AMAs, possibly. But for now, he's off with his baby, and then we'll be working on the central platform team when he returns. But he definitely misses already everyone and the game and telling me how bad I am at it. But I don't miss that. So moving on to the actual next stuff. The stuff I hope everyone came to hear, which is the news, what we've been doing since the last AMA when we last spoke to you. So one of the main focuses we've said for Meow Match was we wanted to try and get more of the Web 2 folk. You might just, for those who just don't do the Web 3 side, never heard of it, whatever else. We want to try and use the Meow Match app as one of the ways that we could maybe try and get people to check out Gala and the ecosystem and realize that it's not all so scary. Of course, we've mentioned previously there are such frictions, and it's not the easiest space to get into, but we've got to try somewhere. There's no point not trying just until everything's perfect, so we're still pushing strong on that. So the first thing that I'll speak about, so this will be going live soon. Two things going live soon. Don't have an exact date, but the engineer is working amazingly hard on these. I've been sent videos of it all working. So it's now looking like it's mostly in its testing phase, ready to deploy. And that is 1,000 kitty cash for linking your account. So a user, gets the Meow Match app, they're playing, they obviously might learn very quickly that kitty cash is useful for leveling your cats and that you don't get a lot very quickly. And then they would see the option that if they link their Gala account, they will get 1,000 kitty cash, which is obviously a nice big chunk and very tempting, which we hope they, of course, then make the Gala account and come over and actually check us out and the other games. The point being, these are gamers, and we want them to come check out the other games that everyone's playing and enjoying, in the hopes that we can grow this space and use the app to do so. So I think that's very nice. I understand people have already signed up. Already linked their Gala accounts, and then now an offer comes out of 1,000 kitty cash. Again, this isn't more of like to appease sort of this space. We want to pull people in and get them to check it out. People all have the different reasons to check things out. So that's that. If I can find a way to just get it so if you've already done it, you will benefit, I will, but there's no promises on that. But there is something coming, which I'll tell you about in a second. So anyone who doesn't or hasn't already linked will have that option. But of course, it's those who have no idea about Gala or even the Web3 space in general that might see this. And I'll put some pictures in a second. There's also a slight change to the pop-up UI. It now will have a news tab instead of just being that one picture with text that pops up with a button. We'd like to give more information to the users in the app. That's any updates coming, content coming, of course, mentioning Meow Mansion, so they hear about that, events, the competitions, and of course things going on inside Gala. So that's very nice. I will post now. Just got to change between all of these. Let's see. So there was the two pictures there that just sort of claim and before claim, and it shows the two tabs, the news and the store tab, versus being the old method. So we're introducing that. Before I move on, I see some questions. I see one from Ed. What about keeping a Web3 users? Well, again, that's why we're doing other stuff, which I'll speak about Meow Mansion. But again, this is just focusing on the side of, or because it's not about picking one side and only focusing on them. It's my point anyway. There's obviously we want both Web 3 and Web 2 players, but we're just what I'm speaking about specifically is just focus for Web 2 players to get them over to this side. And as you actually mentioned, Ed, there are those other games that have rewards, and therefore wouldn't that be nice if a bunch of new people check those games out because they heard about Gala from something as they linked their account and got 1,000 kitty cash. So we'll see how that works out. It's still very tempting. Even if so not everyone's going to be interested, but it's enough to I think get someone's attention, and that's the hope. But it's not about rejecting Web3, and I'll tell you more in a bit about that side. How do we earn from playing Meow Match? Currently, no earnings inside Meow Match, but I'll speak a little bit later around some thinking. Due to the Yes, Ed coming in hot with the questions. Going to assume might be a little bit annoyed by the competition comment I seen earlier. But yes, the in terms of how much play, I fully agree in the sense of the Monday to Wednesday, and then nothing after that. It's kind of like, you want a bit more to do. You feel like you want to put your progress towards the competition aspect, and as well as other types of content in the game that are non-specific to that. Totally hear you on that one. The first thing on my list after I tell you the second thing that's coming with the 1,000 kitty cash will be to hopefully address some of that, and it being around more competition, basically. So at least more progression. We're just getting round to that point as the solo competitions that we've mentioned before aren't on, and we need to figure out why. Was there a reason that was off? But we wanted to get some sort of fresh stuff in now that we could to sort of, just bring new players over. And then I see how to connect my account to Gala. Well, we're sure the connection's inside the app. So is that? So there's a guide there. Yeah, so it's inside the app. The connection there. Once you've made your Gala account, or you've got your Gala account, it should just connect within the app. What you might find is if you can't see it, judging by your comment there, it's likely you're in one of the countries where the updates. So I'm in the UK, for example, so I can't connect mine. Doesn't allow me. And it's just a bit annoying, and we're sorting all of that out. I think there's another country as well. But there might be, what you might be mentioning there is because of the inability to update the app. I don't know if that is your case specifically, but I think someone will be able to help you. Any other questions? The sending of the cats, yes. So that was actually all the work was done to get them so you could move your cats around, and then the chain team. This was separate to us. There was a bug on that side, or not even a bug, something they wanted to check out, and then I need to go and reinvestigate. But that should be extremely close for you to be able to move around the Mayhem cats, the Toiga, the Mohan, all these things should be able to at least move them around on Giri or Gala Chain, as we say now. And I'm not sure about the minting to Ethereum, but maybe. But definitely appreciate everyone's patience around not being able to move their cats as well. Definitely high on the list. Separate team though, but most of that work was definitely done. It was even live for a brief moment. That was a random leak, but then that was turned off after, to get the next stage of testing done. But we did see it it was in prod and then out of prod for it was there for a moment, and so we know we can go for that. We just need to get the last little bit done because it's very painful to have something and not be able to move it. I've seen people buy them for their wife and whatever else, and I appreciate you can't then send it over to that account. It's a bit annoying, so it's high on the list. Is any other questions before going forward? Nice to see you too, Martin. Hope you're doing well over on what I believe is now Common Ground World. I always admired Martin's efforts in trying to better himself as a competitive player. And I hope you like the news coming about the other competition for Meow Mansion. All right, so I mentioned there was a second part after the 1,000 kitty cash. So you've linked your account now. Or you've already done that, so the people who are here most likely already linked if you can. As I just mentioned, in some countries, with it not being on the App Store or not being able to update, the features might not appear to allow that. It's very annoying if that's the case. But let's just say you've linked. If you remember, I think maybe about a month or so ago now, everyone got a pack. We gave out the Grandmaster pack for everyone. Well, we're not giving out the Grandmaster pack again, but because that was a very big, generous pack, I hope everyone enjoyed that. We're going to make it so every single month. So if you've linked your Gala account, that's it. You're done. And then every single month, you will get a pack given to you in game in your inbox, just like the Grandmaster one. Someone says there the pack was amazing, still using it. There you go. So it's not going to be as as beefy as a Grand Master, I will be honest up front. But every single month, if you've linked your account, you will just get a pack dropped in your inbox. You don't have to do anything else beyond opening the pack so you can actually use it. But once you've linked, then you will have that pack. It should be it'll go out on the same day for everyone, maybe the last day of the month, first day of the month, something like that. But once you've linked, you're done. You'll just get your monthly pack. It'll be a couple of hours of unlimited lives, some cash. Here you go. You might see a little sneaky leak because the engineer sent me a video where he just set it to send himself all the packs for each month. So there was one of them when it was open, just as a little test of sort of what you get in the pack each month. So I hope that helps. And of course, the goal being get more competition in, which I'll speak about now, which has been brought up. More content in general. So first of all, I've seen a mention of the leaderboard. So yes, they show a little bit. It's by design in the sense of it's a casual game. It's the only way I can explain it. It's so, you see everyone's always in a top 10 and it's basically because it wasn't, in terms of competition, the type of game, it's not like a Web3 competition, for example. It's more there as a fun feature, but this is why it was made the way it was, in the sense of everyone kind of sees someone, no one's left alone, or no one's just got no one to compete with. But as has been revealed, there is the instances where, like last week, I believe, Townstar Gang, we thought we were competing with the Gala Sages, and they couldn't see us. We could see them, they couldn't see us. It's very interesting, and I'm aware of it. It's not something we can just go in and just make a few code changes. Of course, the game is made so such changes have to touch a lot of places, and yeah, so I appreciate everyone's points on that. I've definitely heard it and seen it. We're going to look even deeper into it because the competitions. So it's three days a week. That's it. It's Monday to Wednesday, and so many people have said it to me now. And I say it myself. It's just you want when those competitions over, it's just well, I'll just wait till Monday. And of course, that's not what you want. You want that sort of, if you want to log in that day, you want to not feel like you're going to waste a good level that gives lots of points or something like that. The first thing we've got to do is investigate. The engineer is literally now nearly finished on these new features, given the monthly pack going out to everyone who's linked, and the 1,000 kitty cash for the new linkers. And to answer your question, Ed, I don't know if I can get it so everyone who already linked, but I might be able to wing it so everyone who already linked just gets 1,000 kitty cash in some way. I'm going to try. I just can't promise it. But it was already on my mind to put something in after people linked. People also want that reward. So going to do my best to get you the 1,000 kitty cash if you've already linked when the new thing goes live, but we will see. Are there any requirements to qualify for the monthly pack? Only linking your Gala account. That's it. Once you've done it, and then every month you will just get that pack. There's no play requirements or anything like that. You can just link your account, and each month you get a pack. Yeah, good stuff. So anyway, back to competition. So the first thing I assume would be the easiest option, because there's different levels of what we can do and how long that's going to take and how much work. I'm sure people have had this explained a bunch of times now, that although some things are amazing and would love to do them, they're just technically a pain in the ass, you might say. Hope nobody had children listening, I apologize. But some of them, you really want it, and it is a simple no. And that is very annoying. So the first one I want to look at is, what if... Yeah, you can act like a child. My dear, dear one-odd gent. What a legend Todd is. Anyway, so how about just making it 6 days? The first simple thing, I believe, is just change the timer. Far less coding, far less crazy stuff. If the competition just lasted 6 days instead of 3, is that a good first choice to just make? Because the actual thing I'd like is maybe a day break and then another 3 days competition starts. There's also solo competitions. We need to investigate why solo competitions were originally turned off, and then see about getting them on, because there's plenty of cats that have the utility for that. Plus, solo and teams, great to have both. Oni says, "Sure, why not?" I don't know if that was to the comments above, though. But yeah, so anyway, so I'm looking into either giving you a 6-day competition a week, splitting it so it's just another one starts, say, the day after, or hopefully 3 of those days could be a solo competition as well. But just to let everyone know, it might just be a simple case of, right now, the quickest thing I can do is just extend the current competition's runtime, which I think at least gives us more days of competition while we work on sort of, for example, the Meow Mansion, because that's going to have competition, and we're going to talk all about that. Someone says 3-day team comp, 3-day solo seems like a good option. Yeah, that would be the ideal, because I know some people just don't want a team and just rather solo, which is fine. And there's cats that have solo utility, so that's also another reason why I want to put it on, since the utility exists. But we'll see. It might be a similar case of it's not so simple. But for those who might know me, I don't like to make just everything fixed in stone. If I can do something like now, make a 6-day comp, I will, and I'll come back later the moment solos are available, and I'll split it in half again. I don't think we have to set any rules and laws right now. We'll just do what we can, get more competition, for example, and that gives the engineer more time to figure out solos and split comps. And another thing is it just rotates the same things. That kind of, I feel like we could do more there, but it's just the effort in making that system fit in with the old system of adding new stuff in. For example, like, what if it was just a point for every certain color you popped, and it could be very simple in the sense of the new thing that scores you for the competition so it doesn't repeat. The design wise, no problem to think of things we can do. Then comes the problem of we try and do it and it all goes to hell. So just to summarize that very long-winded way, this is why I shouldn't be alone, because no one cuts in to interrupt me, you see, and I'm just waffling away. But to summarize, I will just target 6-day competition, because I imagine that's far easier than making any major code changes. And then once we move to that, that'll just give us time then to start investigating, can we actually make it 2 competitions a week? And then can we make that a solo and a team? So I will check for now. Any questions? No. Some support for solos. What about trials and missions? In Dragon Strike? Yep. So we'll speak about Meow Mansion soon. There was definitely also ideas just in the sense of it was like a cat calf inside Meow Mansion. Meow Match app, which was more of like a cat care kind of, a light mission adventure type thing. But then it evolved into Meow Mansion, which I will explain. We'll cover it now, make it easy instead of me jumping backward and forward like a lunatic, boring everyone. Right, so we've covered all the features that go live there. So Meow Mansion, yeah. Few things on the Meow Mansion. First of all, just want to say that progress is coming along, which is very nice. The engineer has been working tirelessly, literally 16-hour days in some cases. Always does the weekends. But we've told him off and we've sent him on a week's vacation because he's just worked so damn hard. Some people are like that. So he's off enjoying with his children a nice week off. Yes, thank you, engineer. He's a legend. He once worked on Townstar also back in the day. Absolute legend. But he's now taking a much needed break, and then he's going to come back and go hard again, which we advise him. Oh, we're sure he's got so much done. It's unbelievable. A lot of the time it's taken so far is just setting up, the code aspect of it's server authoritative, for example, and then it's being done in specific ways. So any changes we want to add are not big changes, and he's trying to build it as best as he can. in the sense of really future-proof and knowing that we want to sort of keep things fresh. And he's going hard, and it's great to see. But now he has to have his week off. Honestly, he needs a week off. But what I'm going to speak about on the sense of progression, I did plan to have a progression demo this week. Now, I'm calling it a progression demo on the fact that it's not a play test. If you say play test, people expect like a full-blown game at least, or lots to do. But it isn't. It's just, I want you, the community, to see where we're up to. This is what we've got. You can, of course, see what things are called, how things look. You can ask questions. Why does it say this? Why would this be in the game? That doesn't seem right. This seems silly. There's plenty of reasons why I think it's very beneficial to introduce the community very early to the game. Most people have never seen a game developed. In fact, they've even seen early shots of games, but that's even still at a point where it's had its UI done and all other little things. In this case, it won't be, because the point is, it's a progression demo. And I want you to look at it and see it in its bare self. Just there, all naked, with nothing to show. And then slowly, maybe the next month, we'd do a second progression demo, and you'd see the leaderboards added. The animations, the UI has been fixed up. The UX flow makes sense now instead of random things all over the place. Things actually work. You can click and go on things. The whole point is see it progress, see it grow, which we've said from the start. And I think it's important. I know it's normally not something games would do on the basis many people might just drop in and be like, wow, this is their game, this is awful, and leave, because they just don't pay any attention to it being a literal progression demo. And that's fine. I'm willing to take that on. I don't mind. I just want everyone to see what we're working on and be able to join along, because one of the best things about seeing things early is someone like Ed can come in very spicy one day and make an absolute fabulous point, and I'd be like, you know what, Ed, you're right. There is not enough of this, and we're adding it in. And that's how it works, and I think it's wonderful. There's lots of balancing that needs to be done in such games. Having the community play it, especially when it makes zero sense. People will start to point out, this is 10 minutes, this is boring, why am I doing this? And it doesn't mean, just because it lacks the full feature to make them not bored, it's still good to hear those things early on, because you might come up with new ideas. So we're going to do the progression demo probably in 2 weeks now, because the engineer needs to come back, get a few more tweaks done. But what I'm hoping is you'll be able to send your cat on adventures and level your mansion, because all that's working right now. We've got the crafting, the leveling, which I'm going to cover all of this now, by the way. I'm not just telling you stuff you haven't heard and forgetting that. I'm going to cover all this now. But the point being, we've got a lot of the features in. I just want to explain that we've got crafting in, we've got leveling up in, we've got the adventure system in, but I'm going to tweak that a little bit more. I want that to have a lot more of a... I'll get into it. We'll cover that in a minute, but we're going to do some tweaks on that, make that a bit thicker. But we've got a lot of work already in, already done that works, and it just needs those extra, tweaks. And then it starts to come down to art as well, as an interesting one. Currently, we're sort of doing our own art. Of course, until it's, at a better point, and then that'll all be done very nice by, incredible artists and whatnot. But the point being, we're trying to really show you how things start, and you will just see it one day switch from looks like two guys made it to like, oh, look, there's a real game. And that's the point. And I hope that's fun, but it's also nice for you to learn and get engaged, because I'm going to tell you now about all the stuff that's coming. So I'm going to get my list up. See, crafting is good. This is good, yeah. Crafting is definitely going to be an interesting one. Got lots, are going to rely on the community lots for opinions on this, because there's just a million ways to do it. And the whole point, obviously, to create a game and the progression and how long that takes and how long that lasts, and which we're going to cover now. And I'm really excited because we've only really mentioned Meow Mansion, and it was described as like a Fallout type game. But then we pulled it back to a more like cutesy version. And then with Captain Chill leaving, I had a meeting with him and showed him some new design ideas I had and convinced him to allow me to do this. And here we are. So first of all, Meow Mansion, you have a mansion. And that mansion will have a level. The level of your mansion is going to decide a lot of things. Of course, that makes sense. in the sense of how many adventures are available, how much energy do you have and regain. But don't worry when I say energy, some fun stuff there, not a complete progression killer. But things like the amount of energy you have, the regeneration rate, your inventory slots, the things that are available to you, all these sort of things. It'll be a lot more detailed. There's still a lot of design. There's a lot of design done and a lot coming. But for now, just need to understand the basic concept. There's a mansion, your mansion. It has a level. And you level it up. And by leveling up, you of course get access to a lot more. With the various. Sure, people can even add new ideas in once they start seeing the progression demos. People might say, why can't you level effect? And then whatever it is. And that's the type of stuff I want to hear as well. So anyway, you've got a mansion and it levels. I mentioned mansion energy. So that is the energy that your mansion has in the sense of going on an adventure. Cost energy. And that regains, similar to how Meow Match, you have lives and they regenerate, but it's not just on a fixed timer. The actual level of your mansion will help the speed or dictate the speed you regenerate and how much you can actually hold of energy. So you're not fixed on a fixed number either. And just as a note, I'm well aware of energy in games can be a pain sometimes if you literally want to play and you can't. So don't worry. We've got some stuff to talk about. The next thing, because I'm just going to be brief on this and we'll go into this. So we've got adventures and different types of adventures. Now, I just want to shout out to any Mohan owners. For example, when it comes to adventures, got a lot of design space, like a Mohan-specific adventure. Maybe if you own Mohan, that opens up an adventure that you can do once, twice a day, for whatever that type of reward system would be, and it doesn't take energy because Mohan's a beast with energy, so he doesn't use any, or whatever else. Then there's specifics in a sense of rewards and experience, and then mansion score. Something we're going to speak a lot about will be mansion score, because that's where the competition is. That's where I hope all the fun ends up, in trying to get yourself that mansion score in a competition. But while we're on adventures, experience for the cat that is on the adventure, and loot for you, the person who sent the cat out. Now, what we want to do with this, maybe I'm a bit cruel for this one, but I think it's kind of makes it a bit fun, is you'll be given your reward, well, you'll be shown your reward, but it's split in half. So it's not just, here's everything you earned. You'll just see, a bit of that and a bit of this kind of split in half, you might imagine. Maybe it's straight down the middle, maybe it's weighted, depending, but the idea is you get to pick. So you go on that, you'll get your overall loot, but then you're going to pick of which one of the offerings you're going to take. So you get to decide on that sense rather than just getting all the loot. So sorry if you're a loot goblin, you're probably not going to like that. I am a loot goblin, by the way, so that'll probably hurt me the most of anyone. But in terms of adventures, they will also give a mansion score. Mansion score we'll get on to. It's lower down on my list. That was dumb. Mansion score itself is the competition, so we'll get into that in a minute when we speak about the competition. But just know adventures give a tiny bit of mansion score, but they are not going to be the amount of adventures you do in a day. Getting your mansion score will not be in the sense of just how many adventures. It'll be focused on your loot and what you do with your loot, and I'll explain that in just a second as I move down my very well constructed list. The rewards and XP itself, of course, is going to vary. Cats have skills. I'm still very unsure on the skill system because it's such a complex thing and you don't want to put one in and it just make no sense or be stupidly pointless to grind any further because there's no benefit. And there's all kinds of thinking that I think design-wise that needs to go into skills, otherwise they become sort of a pointless addition, in my opinion. Or at a certain point, it makes no sense to go any further. And I don't like that, so I'm going to try and design in real counters to that. But the main one I can tell you is adventures will pop up that are gated, so there'll be special adventures. And these adventures might say you need a cat that has this much total in skill, or this skill at this level, or 2 cats that both have this level above this amount. So the idea being there is a very real reason for you to get cats to specific levels on whatever those levels are. Still unsure on the names, since if they're going to just be a kind of gated content, it doesn't need to be very specific. This, if it's going to be that skill very specifically is showing up in, say, the adventure logs, you know, if it was like a defensive type or a search skill or something, it would need to be named more appropriate to that. But for right now, what I am very confident on, which is going to be hopefully in for the first progression demo, but maybe not, is gated in the sense of it's just your how much you play with that cat, how many cats you've got. It says adventures based on level sounds great. Yeah, so I feel like if you're going to put a lot of time into these cats, which is the point, obviously, the idea is level them up, have some fun, compete in the competition. And then once you realize that you're doing an adventure that rewards very well, purely because your cat had really good levels or the right combination, you get an extra reward purely on the basis of you can do it and get a better reward. You couldn't if you didn't. Mansion score. I really need to touch on this because the competition's a massive part of Meow Mansion, and it wasn't mentioned before because that was part of my, hey, Captain, chill before you leave. Just want to add a few new additions in. And now I want to make it so it's how much you can do in a day, but that can be very awkward in a game in the sense of, you know, you make a bunch of progression, you still get smoked because some guy plays 10 hours a day versus your 3 hours, which are both substantial amounts of time. So you need to kind of balance it in a way where it makes sense that you've worked very hard and you now get that benefit. What are those benefits? What am I talking about? Well, it's mansion score, and I'm going to keep repeating it because it's going to be the big thing in the competition. Consider it, while we were on the subject earlier, you've got Town Star, how it was, you got stars. Consider a mansion score similar to that. Only it's not about selling or doing the adventures per se. The adventures are going to get you the loot that you need. Why? But you're going to have a crafting table, and so you're going to have a crafting bench and a potion table. Don't know how I just got those mixed up. But you're going to have 2 of those in your mansion. They'll start at level 1. You have to craft certain items together to make ingredients. You then take those ingredients, you've got your potion table, get it right, and then you can make experience potions. Now, if anyone is confused by what the hell I've just said and why it's like that, I'll explain now. So, you go on adventures, you get loot. This loot is what you then craft up and save up and combine to make potions. Those potions you decide to make will have the experience. You will then level up your mansion that way. So you will get experience from consuming the potions that you make. Versus just going on adventures and therefore your mansion level goes up. No, you'll go on those adventures and you'll decide, you know, maybe there's a 10 XP potion versus a 25 and it's not much more effort to save up and make a couple of 25s. The whole point is you get to decide how are you going to handle, what potions are you going to make and target. Can we craft a cat? No, but there will be a database one, so it won't be a case of you must have an NFT cat or anything like that. So you will all get at least one cat to use. And I've got some fun ideas in the sense of assigning cats to, maybe if you attach one of your cats to the workbench or the potion table, because there's crafting timers and all these things that I'm going to cover now. But I just want to go on to the pointers, and I mentioned leveling up your mansion. Your mansion has a level, and I never told you how. But there is a reason why I'm telling you now specifically about mansion score and the potions, the mansion potions that you would drink. The potions, the mansion XP potions, you consume them, you get XP. It's just that simple. It's just like eating a food, only the number that you get goes towards your XP. And you'll decide what potions you want to make. And as you get as you upgrade your mansion, that'll allow you to upgrade your crafting bench and potion table, and they'll allow you to do better crafts, maybe less ingredients, quicker, more at once, all that good stuff. So you get to grind out those 2 as well as the mansion level. Now, it gets a little bit interesting, though, when I tell you that your mansion score, The best way to get it is by exchanging Mansion experience potions. So that means the unconsumed ones. Once you've consumed it, the XP is permanent. You cannot just remove the XP. So we're talking about the competition. You would need to craft and exchange, so you don't get to use them, those Mansion XP potions, and they would each have a specific value that they would have with the Mansion score. Let's say a 5 XP potion gets you, I don't know, 50 Mansion score or something like that. So every one you exchange, you get 50 Mansion score. And it's that would act as your leaderboard ranking, so the amount of Mansion score, who's got the highest, rank 1. It resets weekly, the competition, to be clear, so it's every week how much you can sort of do in that week. But it comes from your choice of, do you level your mansion or do you compete? You get this nice, interesting dilemma. Now, it is literally a progression stopper in the sense of decision, because if you could just do both, then you'll have a max level mansion and then boring. And that's usually how it goes. And I want people to make that decision. Are you going to exchange 70%, 30%? Do you have a 50-50 split? Do you half level your mansion and half compete? Who's going to take that week because they're willing to sacrifice the most of them leveling the mansion? That's the whole point. But as you do slowly level your mansion, you appreciate it more. Of course, the closer you get to the higher ends where you're leveling it less, you're more focused on the competition. But the idea is you can't just waltz into the competition. You know, you got scripts and everything these days, and people who want to be as lazy as possible. No, we want those people who are gonna, come in and play. And at least, of course, you can't get rid of bots and stuff. But the idea being, we make it as fun as we can, and give you, the player, that decision of how you're gonna decide. Are you going to exchange it all, consume it all, split however many? It all depends on what you can do in a day. But that will be how the competition is structured, based off your mansion score. The mansion score, as I say, will be obtained a little bit from each adventure, but the most mansion score you will get will come from exchanging those mansion XP potions. And as mentioned, the adventures will have mission. I don't know if I'd mentioned this already. If I didn't, sorry. But some adventures will be mission score only rewards. So if you've got a bunch of cats and a couple of adventures pop up that are just mission score based, you can at least not have to, lose XP to get some extra mansion score. So there's going to be lots of options. It's not just going to be super hardcore. I know that sounded a bit hardcore. But the idea is you as a player will make a choice. So you're going to level a mansion that week or half, and whatever you want to do. I'll see if there's any questions. Speaking of a database cats, what about the cats we earned since NFT Day? The mint scrolls and all of that is still work-wise. It's obviously got to be handled. I want to get it live so you can move cats around first on Gala Chain. Bridging would be nice. Then I'd like to get the mint and scrolls in, so that you can then actually turn all the rest of them into cats. Again, no dates on that. It's not work that our team can just immediately make happen. And there is a lot going on with some game releases and stuff. So at the moment, I can't promise how quick that will be or where we'll fit in. But I will be poking Captain Chill, who is conveniently now the lead of these things. So stand by on that. Any new picks for the upcoming stuff? Leaks. I actually tried to. I logged on, but it needs to resolve some things just so that I can show you the full flow. Otherwise, it would just be a screenshot and wouldn't really explain very much. And I want to show you the adventure log. So when the cat's on the adventure, you're getting messages like, your cat's just chased a dog off or something like that. Those type of active things that you can just see happening. And then we'd eventually like to make it so that maybe it pops up, do you want to do something, or what I would call a random event. I want to add random events in, so maybe you start an adventure or you're in the middle of an adventure and something happens, and these things are a positive a bit. I don't know if anyone played RuneScape. Random events were actually there as an anti-cheat mechanic, but eventually some of them were actually pretty good and you got excited when you got them because you knew you were going to get something decent or useful. I'd really like to do the same thing, but purely on just make people happy. How cool is it if all of a sudden this random thing happened and you get a nice reward? But that was kind of a tangent. I'm very sorry. But the whole point I was going on first, competition, the game's going to be focused on how much you can do in a day, but it's not, everyone's not equal in the sense of you all make your own choices. Which potions are you going to grind out, of what value, and are you going to exchange them or level up your mansion and whatever else, and how you want to play. Will a mansion competition be purely individual or team as well? It's a great question, Ed. At first, it'll only be solo just because it's less work to build solo than the team version. But then, absolutely, I want it so it's just team. Because at the end of the day, it's just taking the people who are connected together in some way, however that'll work, and then combining the score. So yes, I really love Guild. I think it's such a powerful force. I enjoy the weekly competitions in Meow Match, and why I'm a big supporter of going to try and make sure that we get even more of it, because I do believe we need the additional competition, and it will start solo in this case. In fact, for the first progression demo, my plan is, because the leaderboard won't be in, because that would be quite a big feature, but that would be for the second one. We can track how much mansion score. The point is, when you play the progression demo, it's not a play test, but if people want to sit there and go on a few adventures and be a bit silly and make a few potions, even though it's very limited gameplay wise, I'm going to try and track that data so that we can record whose mansion got the most mansion score. As a sort of start off to some competition, it'll only be fun. If I can do a reward, some kind of special cat or item for the mansion, I will, but no promises. The point will just be more to let you get a feel for the having to craft potions, exchange them, or use them to level up your mansion type feel. Anyway, I will now ramble on about the rest. So I mentioned the potions and the crafting. Slots. This is an interesting one. You have an inventory, which we can make obviously grow bigger in slot-wise as your mansion levels up, which I think is a very nice mechanic. It's nice to see that benefit, especially if you are hoarding lots of stuff. But we'll see. It'll start with at least a good few slots anyway. But the crafting slots are going to be slightly different. Because at the end of the day, it is about how much you can do in a day and making wise choices, in a sense. It's not a hardcore game. Like, if you make the wrong choice, nothing bad happens. You just didn't make the most efficient choice with your combination end of. It's not a big deal. But if you care about the competition and that side of it, then of course, that's where the fun is, of getting the right balances out. So the slots, it'll start off, again, this is all tied to your mansion level. You can craft one thing at once, either item and for the potion table. So you can have something crafting on your crafting bench, and you can have something on your potion table crafting. But that's just one slot and one item. But you might be able to craft 5 things right now. Well, again, if you level up your crafting bench and potion table and mansion and all these things, you of course start to see the progression of more slots, quicker craft timers, all this good stuff. It's most people will be familiar with these concepts in games anyway, but it will start off, maybe it's 20 minutes to craft a potion, and you can only do one at a time, but you've got 3 of them. This is where the drive to actually level your mansion up, to start unlocking more crafting slots, lower those timers down. Maybe you can consume potions that give you a 24 hours of 50% reductions. There's all kinds of design space. I mentioned energy as well. You'll be able to craft energy potions. So if you're someone wanting to really play that day, you might be willing to just sacrifice some of your ingredients to, drink a 4 or 5 regeneration energy potion. Maybe it just puts you on a turbo regeneration for that day. Maybe it gives you an instant 5, 6, 7 energy. Whatever it is, there'll be energy potions, so you will not just be deadlocked on waiting for the timer. And the reason for this is I want to put adventures in that are maybe 2 energy, 5 energy, 6 energy, but I want you to be able to look at it and be like, yeah, it's well worth spending 6 energy to go on this adventure because of it's an epic or a legendary based. We'll find a rarity. That was a bit of a silly example. We'll find a good rarity for the user to really look and be like, oh, that's a much better adventure to do. So you can look at the stats and think, oh, all right, it's an hour long, 2 hours long, 15 minutes, I don't know. It could be all kinds. And of course, more adventure options. If you've got lots of cats, I need to cover this. If you've got lots of cats, because there's the NFT ones for now. So I'll get onto this part. You've got the NFT cats right now, and then you'll have the database one. Then the mint and scrolls come in, and then, yeah, so at fair to be the few NFT cats that there are, and you'll have your database one, so you'll be able to play even if you've got no NFT cats, don't worry. And then, yes, we will get the mint and sorted. So you can turn those other cats from the game into NFTs and use them in Meow Mansion. And again, multiple adventures. If you can go on all 5 that are available, why wouldn't you? If you've got the energy and you know, this is the point, you grind it out that way. I could waffle on about that for too long, but I won't bother. It's just pretty standard, I would say, if you've ever played those type of games where you send out on timers and collect stuff and craft. I'm trying to keep it as very familiar to people, but still fun. And of course, it's a small team, so we can't go crazy and make all these bonkers features like I'd love, but maybe one day. So next on the list is, I've got the normal crafting. So that was just basically you craft potions, but then that's from ingredients. So you'll spend some time crafting some of the ingredients together before it can be made into a potion. Better potions, higher tier ingredients. Of course, all of that stuff. Mansion score, covered that one. This is an interesting one next. A node concept. Now, I'm going to be very clear. It's a concept. It's just an idea I'm having. I haven't gone and pitched it to all the bosses and people I should pitch it to. It's a concept that I'm thinking of. And I thought I'd throw it out there. And if it sounds absolutely awful, it might just be, we can't do it anyway, even if people love it, by the way. But I'm thinking nodes in themselves. You hear about nodes, you hear them in games. There's the utility. What's it going to do? If, and only if, there is a utility there, I think it could be very, very fun. Now, I'll explain why. Let's say a Web2 user comes in, sees an item which will act as a node. So let me be more clear. What would nodes be in the concept? I was thinking, maybe I'm crazy, maybe this is an awful idea. You guys tell me. An elemental, so this is just a name and can be changed, but it'd be an elemental workbench or an elemental potion table. So basically, you've now got a super version of those, only yours is a little bit different in the sense of it crafts things that just simply don't appear for anyone else. It's got its own sort of content. And the benefit of having a node and running it is that it's public. And I'm hoping to have in the progression demo a page, what you would see if you were going to look for a node owner that you could craft on their elemental table or bench. And the point being, then if you go and use their table or bench, you see a better, maybe it's the same potions you can craft, but far cheaper. And then it'll be things that you just haven't got the option to craft on yours. So the node owner can essentially is hosting their elemental workbench or potion table. And for the node owner, of course, there has to be some kind of rewards aspect. See, we did say if earning felt right, 50-50 on the earning. I've got some ideas for it because it could be tied into the competition on a weekly sort of system there. But for now, nodes specifically, I want utility on them. The whole point is it does something and it will have a desirable utility in the sense of you as a node owner get benefits, but you also have the option to share that benefit with other people and gain from it. And that's from what I'm hoping would be dupes. So say like I come and I use Bony Chill's elemental potion table and I make a 100 very rare, expensive Mansion XP potion that gives lots of Mansion score. He also get one, or he's also got one now because there was a dupe. Now, I don't think I'd have this on a guarantee, but probably a high chance, and maybe some varying factors that could increase that, maybe the node owner's mansion level and stuff like that. But the point being, you as a node owner host your node, somebody comes, crafts on your slot, maybe it takes 2 hours. After that 2 hours, the node owner and the user get this 100 XP potion. The user doesn't care, they paid the ingredients, and then I want to do another thing of costs. For example, if there was an N, and it'd just be as simple, probably be the token or something like that you'd exchange. But in this case, we're not designing it with A and B and there, but in the sense of nodes having a strong utility that benefits them, or if they want to host. Now, what I want to say about the concept is, if a Web 2 user comes and buys one of these elemental nodes, then finds out, like, oh, what do you mean I have to run them and set up a server and leave my computer and all any of these things that they're just completely put off by, which in some cases people just might not look that far ahead and they just think, oh, wow, here's a multiple $100 workbench. I really like the game. I want access to those really cool potions, and just buys one. Rather than if you have to run it, nope. Don't have to run it for you to benefit. If you buy and own one, you just get it for yourself, in the sense of you can access it as so it's like an NFT. I don't know if they would be NFTs if we done them. Again, there's no one said like, hey, Mal, feel free to go out and actually tell the community what you're thinking. I'm just sharing my ideas of how I want to do nodes if we do them in a way where they make sense. And I forgot what I was saying originally before I come back around to that. But there'd be the dupe effect, and there's some other reward maybe you pay. Because I haven't mentioned the currency, like a database currency in Meow Mansion yet, and that's because I simply haven't decided what I think one fits. Given that you've got the fact if you consume the potions to either level up or rank in the competition, you go on adventures. Is it really needed? If there is a reason for that, then maybe. But for now, it'll be things like dupes. Maybe it's some other incentives for node owners to want to basically have people use their workbench beyond just dupes. But for now, that's the idea I'm thinking, is it'd be a very visible function. You host your node. That might have maybe 1 or 2 slots on it. Someone goes to that page, which I did hope to have a screenshot. Someone asked for leaks. I did hope to have an actual. Imagine a nice web page where it's got your sort of square boxes with maybe some kind of maybe their profile picture and how many slots are available, stuff like that. You click on it, click the potion you want to make. Very simple in terms of how I imagine it, but not making it, I am sure. But that's what I'm going to say on the nodes. It's a concept. It's not guaranteed. But if we're going to do them, I would like it so you have the choice not to run it, but still you'd benefit. Or if you want to run it, you can benefit as well as other people can use it. So you're not forced if you just bought that without really knowing, or it's something you want to check it out. Maybe you just dipping your toes in the space and running the nodes a little bit too beyond what you'd consider for gaming. You can still buy that nice item and treat it as an item in a game, like an NFT cat or something in that sense, even though it probably wouldn't be an NFT. So I hope that makes people happy, in the sense of maybe some people just like the idea of engagement with each other via the utility. Maybe it's an awful idea and no point in having them. That's fine also. Still a concept. It's not going to make or break the game. That's about all I have literally on my list. Isn't it good I waffle so much? Because that got us basically to the hour. I imagine people are going to have questions maybe. Feel free to just lay them in the chat. Oh, get him on stage. Who's going to come and speak? As long as you don't ask me some random questions. I don't know. Do we do that? If someone pings now and says, "Why'd you do that?" I'm blaming it all on you, Vent. Oh, okay. And then I'm going to come and steal your candies, which we're going to put a plug in now. If you haven't seen the Trick or Treat channel, there we go. If you haven't seen that channel, it's pretty fun. You can go in, get candy, and then steal other people's candy. And there's a little competition going on. It's actually so funny. And I stole from Vent. It was my first target, and I'm very proud of that. But is there any questions? Am I missing them? I know I've got the channel open. Does anyone have any questions? I happy to answer. put your hands up. You can type it in the channel. It's fine. You don't have to come up and ask your question. You can definitely just type it in. If you want anything repeating or explaining again, if anything was confusing, I speak so quickly. A nice compliment from Wishaw. Delivered us very well. I appreciate your work. Well, I appreciate you too, mate. Thank you very much. I'll wait another minute if anyone would like to ask questions. But by the way, you can always ping me in the channel. Feel free to just directly tag me and ask. That's probably the quickest way to get an answer from me. You can also DM me if you don't want to ask publicly. But yeah, I will leave it at that point then. And I'll let you leave with a note of the progression demo that I said in about 2 weeks, hopefully. I'll do another AMA around then, which will just be solely focused on Meow Mansion, and it'll be more of a actually ask questions and not me just talking. I'll just explain what we've got and what's there, and then people can either come on stage or just we'll all talk in the channel. And I'll, because you're going to see things and then ask what it is, what it'll be, why it's there, what's the design. So this won't just be the last AMA for a while. I do want to get in about 2 weeks, but only that one will be focused just on the new content. Of course, there'll be announcements as well when the 1,000 kitty cash goes in and all of that good stuff. All right, then, that appears to be it. No questions from the audience. I thank you all for coming very much. Great to see everyone. Please make sure you pop in the channel more. If you're going to join any clan in Meow Match, Townstar Gang is the best. Ignore anything Vince says. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And again, thank you all for coming. It was a wonderful AMA, and I'll see you all very soon.